So just to give you guys a quick overview, pulled off the seal and ended up discovering some surface rust that was on here. Some spots were even more deeper than surface rust. So I ended up grinding that out, just using a simple, I don't know, red grinding stone. It's kind of the medium coarseness. And then as well, just a little wire wheel there on the drill. Try to knock all that silicone off. Silicone will typically cause fish eyes inside the paint. I don't know, it's a chemical reaction and everything. But regardless, knocked all that rust off, cleaned it up good, hit it with wax and grease remover, and ended up coating up all these areas. So if you're doing this, you're going to kind of look at this at first and be like, holy shit, you got overspray everywhere. How are you going to get this to match the color? Because obviously, if you guys know, if you have a light base coat, the actual base coat paint that you put on the vehicle, it will be brighter. If it's a darker paint, you'll kind of get a darker shade and everything to it. So a similar thing with this. I got some silver kind of filler primer. I don't know if you can see, but that's the silver filler primer. It's pretty dang close to the factory paint for the most part, at least for a primer basis. So after this ends up drying real good, I'll just go over and hit it with the filler primer and go ahead and scuff everything down. Now, there is something that I can end up doing. I would like to kind of clean up overspray and everything like this. I don't really care too much because this is a rust encapsulator, so all it's going to be doing is just kind of preventing rust. And you may get a little bit of a weird surface texture, but honestly, as long as you just hit this with a Scotch Brite pad real quick before you actually paint it, I personally don't believe you're going to be able to see any of these overspray or transition lines. But what I was going to say is you can put a little bit of wax and grease remover on your rag and go through here and just wipe up the edges if you want to clean them up like that. It's up to you. To me, I really don't mind. Especially, I'm actually going to go through and hit it because there is some bare metal right here where it got burnt through on the edge when trying to fix some stuff. So I'm just going to go ahead and hit that and then go ahead and prime everything over, sand it down, call it good. Another reason why I ended up priming all the way up here. So at the very last moment, as usual, I ended up seeing that I had cracks right there where these hinges were and right there in the middle. If I don't end up fixing those cracks over a duration of time, they'll end up spreading out. They'll crack more. It'll allow moisture with inside underneath the paint. And then that part will start to rot out and it'll cause a whole bunch of problems. The good thing is the trunk I can replace. Now, the body of the car, that's a different story. So I was going to end up removing this, but to get all the wiring out is going to be a pain in the ass. And I'm only one person, and getting this thing back on here is probably not going to be likely, to be honest. So just going to leave that on here. Hit it with the encapsulator, try to get it down in the pores. Then I'll either go back with the filler primer, or what I have a feeling I'm probably going to do is take some glazing putty or some Bondo and go through and just hit this overall edge here, just to kind of give it a overall layer to seat and embed on. Then hit it with the filler primer, sand everything down, call it a day. And I don't know. So I'm going to take this thing out and wash it a little bit. I don't know. I guess I'm OCD or whatever, but on this particular car, I want it to last. I want it to be something I could enjoy for several years, decades, possibly pass it down. And if I do, unfortunately, end up selling it, well, then somebody else can have a good car that was actually done right. You can see here on the frame rails, it has this aftermarket hitch on. I really want to take it off because I have a feeling they ended up drilling into the actual factory frame rails, this rectangle silver section. But you can see we got dirt and everything underneath there. I don't know. I want this car to be clean. I don't want any dirt or anything inside any of these panels. So that's why I got this car literally stripped down as much as I feasibly can. I mean, interior and exterior. Yeah, I know that door panel's still on, but I was going to take these door handles off, but they're a pain in the ass to get off, and quite frankly, they do have a factory, like a little rubber seal that goes along here. I don't really care for the look of it, and obviously it's going to start to dry out and kind of get that crusty plastic look. So I just said screw it, went ahead and primered over it, and I think it'll actually look pretty good after I get these smoothed out a little bit more, cleaned up. Obviously got the fenders and the wheel wells all tore down. The upper corral ended up kind of going in through some of the seam areas, up around the strut tower, here on the body. So I don't know, there was kind of down in here, I had to scrape some of this stuff out. There was a little bit of oxidation inside there. Again, encapsulated it. I do need to prime over this, but I may not, who knows. And then same thing here where the A-pillar meets the front quarter panel or whatever. I ended up encapsulating and priming that as well, just to try to prevent any future rust or oxidation. Now, this front windshield, it's already cracked. It already has issues. So before I go ahead and paint the vehicle, I am going to take the glass out. I haven't taken it out yet because if I do, when I go to do my final wash on this, obviously I'm going to have water coming in. Kind of similar issue like I have now. I have to put the door seals back in and whatnot. So I don't know. I know it seems like a mess, but this is typically how the nicest things end up turning out. They're a mess at first, and then as soon as you kind of get them overall completed, it's an amazing kind of masterpiece, and maybe not a masterpiece, but something you can have pride and joy in. I mean, I don't know, the built not bought type of ordeal. As well as something I'd recommend for a lot of the people with the Foresters and the Outbacks. These roof rails, they get a bunch of stuff inside of them, and the vibration, they like to go inside this little area here on the left, and it'll start to leave a bit of oxidation. So you can probably see I also hit that with some of the rust encapsulator and then primed over it real quick. Pretty much the main goal is to prevent any type of rust, have a nice paint job, something that's going to last, and that I can possibly ceramic coat and make last even longer than that, and as well have something, again, I can take pride and joy in and drive around. My other Forester out there, I love the dang thing, but unfortunately, just due to the Ohio rust out there, it just ended up eating it alive, unfortunately. So I don't know, the rear strut towers, I had to refabricate on it, and it has some rust and everything near the rear sway bar area where the brackets mount up. So it is fixable, as you obviously see a lot of the classic car guys end up doing, but unfortunately, just due to the overall cost and time it takes, it's not the most economical. But this one's kind of going to be my daily / track and weekend car. And then that one, I'm really kind of considering trying to make it in just a utility vehicle. Then again, I kind of do need the money for other things right now, so who knows? We'll end up seeing. And if you guys are interested on either having your car restored, or if you'd like to either have your vehicle restored, or if you would like for me to start rebuilding, particularly these Foresters or Imprezas or any other variation of Subaru, and actually restoring them, literally stripping them all the way down, going from bumper to bumper, undercarriage to roof, and getting everything cleaned up and inspected and fixed and, I don't know, coated. The underside, I'm going to do another rust encapsulator. I'm going to rubberize undercoat the carriage as well. Then obviously after I'm done, I'm going to put the coil over. It's the R180 differential, the 6-speed, my engine from the other Forester in this one. I would like to get some True Heart rear lateral arms and trailing arms, but I'll have to wait on that for right now. And then when I do end up getting a moment, I'd like to go ahead and emboss the Subaru stars on the headliner and put like a black suede, and then stitch it with a white yarn or string or whatever the hell, you guys know what I'm talking about. And then I'd like to do the same thing there with the door panels too. Kind of how the newer STIs and everything are in their trim. And then for the rear, there's some people out in Russia that ended up making them, but I'm going to fabricate one myself, which will end up tying the two rear strut towers together from the top and then also down from the bottom. On these, they kind of are, I don't know, it has a lack of support, but it's because it's supposed to be a family car. You're supposed to be able to throw a whole bunch of shit in it and drive down the road. I get it. Then I also am going to swap out the dash on this. I'm going to pull out the rack and pinion, the whole front subframe, and as well the steering column, because this vehicle, somebody has tried stealing it before, and the interlock or the key interlock for the steering column has been broken on it too. So I'm going to swap that over. And it has some aftermarket alarm system on it. I haven't dug too deep into it. It's buried somewhere up in there. Again, me personally, any vehicle that has an aftermarket alarm system, I don't really like them because they're typically not installed correctly. Some people, they'll wire them into the starter, they'll wire them into the relays, they'll wire them into the ignition switch, they'll wire them into the neutral or the clutch safety position switch. They may have a kill switch on them. Some vehicles, it'll mess with the passive anti-theft inside the engine control module, and you can't start the vehicle, or it'll start for a second, then it'll die out. Just a whole bunch of fucking nonsense. And then also it can blow fuses and cause a whole bunch of other issues. So I don't know. Hopefully that's a good little decent update. As I said, this has obviously taken quite some time. But I have a feeling when I'm all said and done, this is going to be something nice, something I can be happy and proud of, and I think it'll turn out well. And, we should kind of go from there. But obviously, as I said, money's kind of an important factor. Otherwise, I would have already got the Brian Crower or the GSC cams for the 255 and then ended up upgrading the overall valves, I think from 85 to 87 millimeters. And then I also would do my twin turbo setup, which I've been wanting to do for quite a long time, but unfortunately, you got to have money. And as you guys know, turbos and parts, and especially if you're not making money back off of it, it's kind of a little bit difficult to end up doing. But either whore, either who, not either whore. So yeah, but this 255 is actually in decent shape. I'm gonna pull it out. I'm probably gonna tear it down and just refresh it, put new ring lands on it, new rod bearings, check all the clearances, measure everything, polish it out, clean it up real good. Check the shims for the buckets, for the valves, make sure everything's good there, reassemble it, and then upgrade the oil pickup too, because as you guys know, and then sell that engine if somebody wants it, or considering using it as a backup. Damn train, he always has to blare the horn. But if not, I got my other one. It has a decent TD04 on it. I don't know, I actually just took the exhaust off this thing. I'm kind of curious to see what it's going to sound like, so I don't know, just for shits and giggles. I know this is going to blow fucking a bunch of black shit there on that firewall, which I really don't want to happen, but for the entertainment of the YouTubers, or whatever platform this is on, this is a stock Subaru straight from the downpipe. 233,000 miles. Woo! Ready? Sounds like normal Subaru. Yeah. Forgot to tell you guys the ignition coils on this is no good. That's why you don't buy fucking discounted ignition coils on these Subarus. If you're going to get coils, go Diamond, Delphi, but don't get anything that that isn't name brand. Just be forewarned, otherwise they'll fail on you in about a week or a month, or you'll decrease your performance. So I'm gonna get off here because this damn train's going crazy.